So these are the basics for the game in a very speedy manner. As you can see, we have our map. We have 10 action dice in our unit pool. This is where everything starts in the start of the game. And we have one monster minimum each on the game board. Since we decided it's going to be one monster, for the purpose of the demo, we are ready to go. Buildings are in specific places, and there are more markings on the map, like difficult terrain, as these elements with water, spawn points where you get to put in your units, and other power points where you get more effects on the game. So, in short, people would start with will play either a unit turn or a monster turn, depending on if they have at least one die in one of the pools. Since all the dice in the first turn are in the unit slot, that means they can only take a unit turn, and it has 4 phases. Phase 1, it's spawning. I get to move dice from one side to the other. For example, this crawler costs 1 to be placed in, so I just move one die, I place one crawler, and I can do that as many times as I want, as long as I have spaces to fit them in. So, in the end of the round, let's say that I would have placed a few units and moved a few dice. So, this would be the end of the spawn phase. Then we get to move our units around, pose them strategically around things that we want, and that would end the second phase, which is the advanced phase. Then we get to attack. Attacking means that I activate as many units as I want, take a number of dice that is a minimum of 1. I'm going to use the belcher in order to see what we're talking about. And I get to either brawl or blast. Brawl is obviously for close combat, while blast is for shooting at targets that are in a specific range away. I can use a maximum number of dice, of white dice, for each model, but the minimum is 1. So if I wanted to attack this building here, I would have 1, 2, 3 belchers, and maybe 4 because this is also in range. 4 belchers, so 4 dice. And 4 extra dice, the blue dice, excellent, which are called boost dice and are gained in order to destroy the building. I would roll those dice, gather up my successes, and if I manage to hit enough and beat the actual defense of the building, I get to destroy the building. So this is enough. 2 double hits and 3 more, that's 7, which is over 5. So this building is destroyed and replaced by a debris tile. After destroying a building, I gain 2 power dice and place them in my power pool. Then all white dice go to the other side, the monster in this case, and the blue ones are returned to the well. So after attacking, I have my push phase where I can use any remaining dice and push them over to the monster size, which is not relevant at the moment. So the same thing happens to the next player. They can make their own unit turn, move about the map, gain some dice, etc. Now in the next turn, I can use my monster because I have a lot of dice here in the monster's location. So in the next turn, I can activate my monster as I have a lot of action dice on the monster's location. So, in order to activate the monster, I go through the power phase, for which I gain at least 1 power for every building that I have secured. To secure a building, you need to have at least 3 units next to it. So, I gain at least 1 power dice, plus 1 power dice because I'm securing a power source. Okay, so then I can advance with my monster. I can move it up to its speed again. It has a speed of 6, so I can move it over here, for example. And then I get to use either a special power attack or one of its powerful brawl attacks or blast attacks. So since I'm next to the Cathedral, I'm going to use the Brawl Attack, which allows me to use up to 8 white dice. I'm going to use all 8. 4 blue dice. And, of course, any number of those red that I wish. Let's say that I just wish to use one of them. I'm going to roll them just like in the same manner. I'm going to roll a number of good hits and destroy this cathedral as well, gaining any advantages that the cathedral building would give me, plus of course 2 red dice. Now, any dice that I used are going to the unit side, and this is more or less going to happen throughout the game. I have dice now in both pools, and I can choose to activate in the next turn again my monster with just 2 action dice, or I can activate my units. So this is how the game works. Players alternate turns, they activate a unit, they take a unit turn, then the next player takes a unit turn. That's for the first turn of the game, and then they may do whatever they want, activating either monsters or units, and then alternate activations with their opponent. The game ends after you destroy your opponent's monster. Nothing else matters, like a very, very famous band says. So, these are the basics of the game. Of course, the monsters have much more powerful attacks called power attacks, like pushing buildings to fall over into and hit enemies behind them, like grabbing an enemy monster and throwing them away. But these are things that we should discuss in a different video detailing the game. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and keep your eye out for the next Kickstarter.